Jolie, and I'm the founder of Peoria Grown. Peoria Grown started in 2018 as part of Senator Chuck Weaver's leadership program, and we kind of grew there. Our team in 2018 decided to look into the food insecurity issue, partly because of the closure of the Kroger stores. So what we did in 2018 was kind of research of what all the other agencies were doing around town, like the city and the nonprofits, and we identified two gaps. So one is access to fresh, affordable food, and the second one is education around it. So what our team decided to do with regards to access is look at different ways that we can get food into the hands of the community. So one of the things that you're going to notice what we're doing here today is a pop-up produce event where we basically just fill up 2 car trunks, one with fresh veggies and one with fresh fruit, and go to different places around the neighborhoods and just open it up and get neighbors to come out and pick fresh fruit and vegetables that they want. The whole thing, what we're trying to do with the concept behind this project is basically to just inundate the community with healthy food. There is a huge misconception around the lower income families that eating healthy is expensive, it's hard to do, and that's where our cooking class comes in too. We are trying to debunk that. That it's not hard to make something healthy, it's not expensive, we're not asking you to go all organic. What we're trying to do is ask you to make small little steps to make some changes in your diet. And so like our cooking class is led by dietitian, and one of the reasons why we're getting it led by dietitian mainly is because a lot of the families we serve here are dealing with health issues. And partly it's because for the last, I don't know how many decades, a lot of these families has been relying on the food banks for a lot of their food. And a lot of the food that's coming out is very highly processed.
Right.
So what Peoria Grown is trying to do is work alongside the food banks and all the other different agencies by supplementing some of those food with something fresh, hoping that they will incorporate what they get from the food bank with our food and creating something healthy. So the education component for us is where the sustainability part is going to come in. So just not giving them food, but giving them the tools to be able to make something with it, empowering them that they can make this decision so that they can create a healthy lifestyle.
And so how often do you have the cooking classes or distributions like what we're seeing tonight?
Yeah, so the distribution, the pop-up actually came up from after our COVID, because what happened when our cooking class got shut down during COVID, we were giving out a gallon Ziploc bags of fresh fruits. That was our COVID response, because we were seeing a lot of the schools that were giving out lunches, but it was still again lacking something fresh in that lunch. So we, with a few volunteers, end up bagging just a gallon Ziploc bag with 2 bananas, 2 apples, 2 peaches, and started distributing to all the school hubs and said every bag of lunch you give out some fresh fruit. And we ended up in 4 months packing over 8,000 bags.
Wow.
And when COVID started, schools started reopening, and we saw the food banks were starting to push out a little bit of fresh fruit through the families to farmers bill. We stopped our fruit bags, and instead we decided to do this pop-up, and this happened the last 2.5 months. We still know that there are still gaps in the neighborhood to get access, and so we thought this is the best way to be able to go to them. So we bring the food to them, and this happens every Thursday, once a week, and we identify 5 to 6 different locations, and we just drive there and we put our notice up in Facebook, and a lot of these families follow us, and they know we're here. We've become kind of a regular thing the last 2 months, and they look forward to it, and they just come down here and just get fruit and veggies from us. I have to say a huge thank you to Hy-Vee. So when we first started, the first group that we went to was Hy-Vee Sheridan. I went to pitch them an idea and said, hey, I've got an idea. I want to do a cooking class, but I want to use your location. I want to use your dietitian, and I would like you to fund for it. And they said yes to all 3. And so Hy-Vee has been one of our biggest supporters, and a lot of the fruits that we give out here is through them. They were allowing us to buy those at cost, and that's the only way that we've been able to continue to sustain this pop-up produce for the last 3.5